You're listening to BambinoBabble's story. Once upon a time, in a far-off kingdom, there lived a beautiful princess named Snow White. She was loved by everyone in the kingdom for her kind heart and gentle nature. But there was one person who was jealous of her beauty, and that was her wicked stepmother. The wicked stepmother was a sorceress, and she was always trying to find a way to get rid of Snow White. One day, while Snow White was out picking flowers in the forest, the wicked stepmother disguised herself as an old woman and approached her. "Hello, dearie. Would you like to try this beautiful apple one have here?" the wicked stepmother asked Snow White. Snow White was hesitant at first, but the old woman was so kind that she decided to take a bite of the apple. Little did she know that the apple was poisoned, and she fell to the ground, unconscious. The wicked stepmother was delighted and left Snow White in the forest, thinking that she was dead. But the animals of the forest knew how kind Snow White was, and they could not bear to see her lying there. They knew they had to do something to help her. The animals went to the 7 dwarfs who lived nearby and told them what had happened. The 7 dwarfs were saddened by the news and rushed to Snow White's side. They saw that she was still breathing, and they knew they had to act fast. The dwarfs decided to build a special glass coffin for Snow White and placed her inside. They kept a watchful eye over her, hoping that she would wake up. Days turned into weeks, and weeks turned into months, but Snow White did not wake up. The dwarfs were starting to lose hope when one day, a handsome prince came riding through the forest. The dwarfs told the prince what had happened to Snow White, and he was determined to help. He approached the glass coffin and kissed Snow White on the lips. Suddenly, she opened her eyes, and the prince knew that his true love had been awakened. The wicked stepmother was furious when she heard that Snow White was alive, and she tried to stop the prince from taking her away. But the animals of the forest and the dwarfs banded together and chased the wicked stepmother away. Snow White and the prince were married in a grand ceremony, and they lived happily ever after. The animals of the forest and the dwarfs remained close friends with Snow White and the prince, and they would often come and visit them at the palace. From that day on, Snow White was no longer afraid of the wicked stepmother, for she knew that she had true friends who would always be there for her in times of need. And whenever she saw an apple, she would smile and remember the love and friendship that had saved her life.